What's going on? You guys know what time it is. I am pumped up for tonight's show. If you are joining us, you are in the place to be. This is the Locker Room Show. It goes down every single Thursday. And guess what, you guys? We're getting closer to the football season. So everything has a little bit more weight on it. And we got a great show for you lined up tonight. So first, let me get to my man that holds me down every Thursday in the locker room. That's none other than my brother from St. Louis, Q, the Guru. What's going on, Guru?
What's going on, Coach? How you feeling, man?
Hey, dude, we getting closer to the season, man.
Man, it's almost kickoff. That's what's going on. It's almost
I can
that
smell
time.
the
It's getting there.
grass.
It runs right up on you, right up on you,
Definitely,
and
definitely.
all eyes are on both.
Yeah,
All
there
eyes
are a
on
lot of
Boulder
there
because
are
we
a
got
lot of eyes on
we got
Boulder, and
to see
we gonna get
what's
into
about to
that.
go.
We're gonna get into that. But let me introduce the man of the hour, the one that we brought into the show. We brought him behind the locker room doors tonight to serve you, to give you his view of the leverage football can bring you young football players, but also tell his story and what he's into. This is somebody that I've known probably since I was about 19 years old. He might have been about 18, 17 years old. Time flies. He was a hot quarterback out of Pacific Northwest, actually Gatorade Player of the Year his senior year in Oregon. His dad, professional football player, and then he went on, you guys, to play at the University of Washington after leaving Colorado, and then now is a quarterback whisperer. He's working with some of the top quarterbacks across the United States, and he's got some game for you tonight, and that's none other than Mr. Taylor Barton. What's going on, boss?
Man, back at it, back with you. Been a
Yeah, it's
minute.
been a while.
Excited to be back on the show.
Definitely, man. We switched it up a little bit. I think we were all audio last time that
Bro,
we
you're
chatted.
Hollywood now. You're big time now. I see the intro. You got guests. I like, man.
We're trying to keep up. It's the AI. We're trying to keep up. So I'm excited, man, about tonight because you guys don't know. A lot of you guys don't know. But if you're tuning in to hear Taylor for the first time, I mean, great insight, you guys. He's got family lineage and history that we're going to get into. So this is going to be a great show. I see some people already joining us. The great Rick De Jesus. What's going on? He says, ready for the show. Let's go, coach. And he's got an amazing son, Taylor, playing at UNLV, wide receiver. So, Rick, we love you, and I know you're pumped up for this season. So let's get into it. If you're joining us for the first time, you guys, the Locker Room Show is where we cover the trending topic. We get to the story of our guest, and we get after it for about a half an hour. So let's get right into it. Once again, we've got the great Taylor Barton, phenomenal quarterback, you guys, out of Oregon, played at Washington, Beaverton, Oregon, and now, like I said, runs an amazing quarterback training showcase and clinic, working with top quarterbacks across the country. This is his father, played for the Detroit Lions, played in the CFL, and like I said, you guys, just big time stuff coming out of Taylor Barton's camp. So let's get right into it, TB. The first topic for tonight is what is the meaning of football to you? Obviously, you know, you were introduced to the game at a very young age with your dad's background, and then you went into the industry deep yourself. When you look at the leverage football has provided you, the opportunities, maybe travel, what does football really mean to you and your family?
I mean, you just said the word. I was going to say this: opportunities, experience, opportunities, relationships. I go with those things because here you and I are doing this, and we met as teenagers. You coming from the Bay, me from the Northwest, totally different cultures, backgrounds, everything. And that's what it was. It was opportunities. I think it's an opportunity to get out of where you're at, to go get experiences in life, in the world, to meet different people from different places, and to learn about yourself. In this game, you're tested, in so many different ways. And I think now being in business and running my own business and being in the business world, you see the success athletes have because they've been through that grinder. I see athletes and they know how to handle adversity. They know how to handle criticism. They know how to lead. They know how to follow. So I think if, we're talking to younger kids or parents with younger kids, I think that's what it is be a sponge and soak everything up in this. It's not, it's less about the destination and more about the journey you're taking and what you're learning on that journey. Because more than likely the destination you're going to hit is not the one you're thinking in your mind right now. Wow. Every kid growing up, we're going to go to the NFL, and very few actually do, or D1 or whatever it is. Not saying don't dream, but along the way, pick things up, learning, getting those experiences, developing friendships. I was just at my buddy's son's wedding, that we played together. So it's the life experiences, it's the learning lessons that are going to set you up for success later on in life. And it's the opportunities and doors that this sport can open to you from junior high to high school to college and beyond.
Wow, that's amazing right there. And a lot of you young athletes, you understand this. I see the Munoz family coming in. What's going on? We see you guys in the house out of Texas and appreciate you. Let's get on to our next topic. And this one's a big one. And obviously you're the right one to ask this. But nowadays, it's different than when we came up. Every quarterback that I see is working with someone outside of their team, outside of their head coach. Even the college and pro guys are working with guys outside of their coaches. When it comes to the quarterback position in the Barton Football Academy, Alliance QB Academy, you guys is up there, cream of the crop. Guys like Aaron Rodgers, Kellen Moore, some of the people you see coming in right here. When you look at all the quarterbacks that have quarterback gurus or have quarterback coaches, Taylor, is that par for the course? Is that a necessity in your mind to be a top-ranked quarterback?
Games change now. When the three of us grew up, I mean, you really didn't even do football in the off season. You just went sport to sport, and then in summer started picking up a football and going. You'd stayed a good athlete through the different sports, and it's gotten a lot more specialized. Just overall, speed training, strength training, position training, and quarterbacks obviously are such a fine-tuned position, and it's really blown up and emerged over the last decade, 2 decades with QB trainers and gurus. And I think it's like any other industry. There's a lot of legit ones, and then there's a lot of kind of fraudulent ones that are kind of riding the trend and using buzzwords and things like that. So I think people have to be careful that just anybody isn't the answer. It's like going and finding a good doctor or lawyer. I mean, get references, check background, get receipts. The great ones will show you receipts, and you'll know when you talk to them. You'll hear the realness in what they're saying. But on Netflix, the #1 show right now is quarterback, following Patrick Mahomes, Kirk Cousins, and Marcus Mariota. And I'm on the episode where Kansas City has the first round bye. This is last season. And Patrick Mahomes during the first round bye is out working with his QB trainer. So the best quarterback in the game, arguably one of the best ever, potentially the best ever, in his bye week, out working with his QB coach. So I do think it's important that you get somebody that has that eye to be able to work with you on mechanics and footwork and all of that. But I think the best quarterback coaches are the ones that they help elevate your game without making you robotic. I think there's a fine line of, just over coaching and over instruction and crazy drills with balloons and umbrellas and parachutes and, all these things that can look cool on TikTok or whatever. But I ultimately, the great quarterbacks are great, whether they have a QB trainer or not. Just like an athlete is great, whether he has a speed trainer or not. But I think that the great coaches can help elevate you to that level. And this thing is like a pyramid, that to get to the top, it's smaller and smaller. So those little edges you can get with the right coach as the right trainer, I think is crucial. So I recommend it. It's not an absolute necessity, but I recommend it. But I think for people listening, be selective, do your homework, and the good trainers are the ones that have no problem with you checking other trainers out too. The ones that get real possessive, don't talk to them. It's, I think that's an issue with them that red flags should go up. I always tell people, hey, go train with different people and see who you're comfortable with. Who do you vibe with? Their style. Who do you feel like you learn from and is going to really help get you to where you want to go? And when you find that person, go with them.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit, Q. I mean, you're in Houston right now, man. Obviously, big-time quarterbacks coming out of Texas year in, year out. Let's say you're the quarterback coach or you're the head coach at North Shore or Katy. Do you mind your starting quarterback getting some work with someone outside the program?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I urge it. As he just said, it's about, who can get you to that elevated level. I mean, the big thing right now, if you're in the football world, there's been, in regards to a lot of disgruntled running backs. But that's because the game has evolved and running backs aren't obsolete. But now the game offensively is squarely on the shoulders of quarterbacks and receivers. So this is why, even, what you're doing with your business, Taylor, is even more important because of how the game has evolved. I mean, when we were coming up, for the most part, if you had somewhat decent progression in a big arm, more than likely, you can have an opportunity, maybe, somewhere, playing quarter, at least on the high school level for sure. But now, like you said, everything is so fine tuned, and the passing it's such a pass heavy sport now. It's changed where it's not so run heavy like it was in decades prior. That, I mean, it's imperative, man, especially if you're trying to go to college, for sure. We ain't gonna talk about the league. It's absolutely necessary.
Wow. So yeah, there's evolution, you guys. I mean,
man.
If you want to be a big time quarterback, maybe you're a parent at home and your kid's in Little League, you're starting to see a little talent and you're wondering, hey, can he play as a college quarterback one day? You better get some extra hours at your job because you're going to be paying a quarterback coach because they need that extra work. They're a lot smarter nowadays. Defenses too. We see some of the fades come in, and I see my Colorado ladies, my mother-in-law Victoria Jones coming in saying through from Denver. Of course, she always comes through. And then, of course, Mom Cindy always too checking us out. Love the show. Go hard on the show every week. So we love you guys and everybody else tuning in live and recorded. Let's get on to our next topic, you guys. And speaking of running backs, because you just mentioned running backs, Q, we got a running back out of Cincy. A Bay Area native, Joe Mixon, says that, hey, Bengals, restructure my contract. I'm okay. I don't need to go get the bag. I don't need to play for anybody else. I like my boy Chase. I like my boy Joe. I want to stay right here with Cincy and take a little bit less money. So let me throw this to you, TB, because obviously the shelf life for a running back is short, man. What's your feelings on guys being loyal, or do they need to be paying a little bit more attention to the bag?
I mean, here's the thing. Not just running backs, the shelf life on every athlete and football player. I mean, you got an expiration date on it, and you got to get your money when you can. Now, I think there's a balance to it, and I think everyone's situation is unique. So I think we have to be careful in the world we're in of putting everyone into one bag. Everyone's experience is different. Everyone's situation is different. But I think at the end of the day, it's the same thing we saw. Now the transfer portal in college has changed the game. But again, when we were all coming up, man, coaches were leaving. Our coach leaves after your second year, my first year, and goes and he gets his bag to another school. But none of us could leave, or we had to sit out. I mean, it was very unfair. And coaches leave and take different jobs. So I think for athletes, whether you're in college or pro, you got to do what's best for you. Saquon Barkley, you saw in that interview he just had with Barstool where he's saying, I might say F it to the Giants and just sit out for the year, and play that game. Like, you guys want to go back and forth. And I think athletes have started to change the dynamic, the power dynamic, where, they're starting to sway it more in their favor, where it used to be so much with the GMs and presidents and teams and organizations. And I like that. I like seeing the power, with the people, in life, and with the athletes in sports, not the rich guy sitting up in his ivory, tower. But this is a business, and I think where people make a mistake, and I think this is in life, but especially in this, is people will see it from their lens. And in business and relationships, I think you got to see it from everyone's lens. So as an athlete, you got to see, okay, look at it from the organization standpoint, look at it from my standpoint. And when you do, I think you can come to better agreements. It's when people just see it from their standpoint and whatever side they're on, that's when it can lead to problems because they just dig in. But ultimately, I'm with the athlete, and I think they've got to be loyal to themselves because the coaches at the end of the day and the GMs and the presidents and the owners, they're loyal to themselves first and foremost as well.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Well, big business, but talk to me, Q. I mean, this guy could get hurt and never play again this year.
That's
God
true.
forbid.
That's true.
He's probably maybe top 5, top 10 back. If he was your son, would you say, hold on, son, let's look at some of these offers? Or would you say, you almost got a championship. Why don't you do what's on your heart?
Yeah. I mean, well, in his case, it's kind of unique because a lot of times, regardless of the sport, but, especially in this case in football and, with Joe Mixon's situation, he's with a young team with maybe I'd say behind Patrick Mahomes, maybe the second runner-up best quarterback in the league right now. Like Joe Burrow is like a monster, and as a running back, looking at it from his shoes, well, we're a threat to go to the dance every year almost. Am I going to have the same line? So knowing that as a running back, and I understand my line, I have a solid line, which is going to be able to get me those yards to get the bonuses or whatnot, depending on how my deal is structured. Well, I can leave somewhere else and go get the bag and they pay me more money, but now I'm running against an 8-man front, an 8-man front, 9-man front every Sunday. And I'm not getting the yardage and I'm taking more punishment, even though I'm getting more money. And I might not be on a contender like he is now. So he's looking at it like, and me personally, if I'm him, I'm staying. Because not only can I possibly get a ring with a young, awesome team, I can, because we're a winning team and we're getting televised more. Well, that's my agent's job. I can make up the money that I would have got somewhere else, the bag. I can make that up in endorsements because I'm on a winning squad.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So I don't have to leave. I can make the money up elsewhere. I'll go do sell sandwiches for Subway or whatever and make that money up easy. So it's no.
And also keep in mind, no, that's a great point. And every athlete, you guys are individual contractors. You play a team sport, but you got to do what's best for you. And then also, football players are loyal people. Cincinnati drafted him, and he had a little bit of a checker pass, and he's gotten to some things in the offseason. They've stuck by him, so maybe that comes into play as well. We see the great Jimmy Rucker coming through, and he says Joe Mixon learned from Melvin Gordon's ordeal. So maybe sometimes leaving isn't the best thing to do, and that's a good call right there, Jimmy. On to our next topic, you guys, and obviously, like we said, we're getting closer to the season, and as former players, we always looked at the preseason hype, and the Pac-12 is saying that Travis Hunter is an all Pac-12 performer. A matter of fact, first team cornerback and then second team. So 2 positions at wide receiver. So I wanted to ask you guys, and we'll start with you, Taylor Barton, honors before arrival. Honors before performing at that particular level. Do you think this is warranted, or do you think guys need to wait, whether they're coming out of high school or whether they're coming from the FCS? Do you think guys need to wait before they get their honors?
I think it's enjoyable for all of us to do predictions on team rankings, players. There's a whole industry built around this, and it's fun. And I think there's people that are more educated in things and end up having more accurate predictions, but they're just that predictions. Travis Hunter, at Colorado, we dealt with altitude. It's at 5,500 feet. We dealt with severe cold
elements.
For Travis, he's from Florida, was in Mississippi. He hasn't dealt with that. That's new for him. That some of the elements he's facing. The Pac-12, the teams and players he's playing week in and week out is vastly different. So it's I think there's a lot to be seen. It's excited. And as you know, I finished up at UW, but obviously Colorado is close to my heart. I went there out of high school. So I love seeing Colorado being talked about and the excitement and the buzz, and that we're getting players like that to come in from the portal and recruits out of high school. So I love that there's even buzz about that, and a player on Colorado's roster we're talking about.
Right.
But I think there's, you know, we're going to find out a lot in the early part of the season, and he also has to stay healthy. You know, he battled a lot of injuries throughout. So, I mean, you can be the best athlete in the world, but if you're not on the field playing, you know, you can look great in practice, and we know how it goes. We've all been in the locker room where guys are talking about, you know, I saw, was this right on that opening? Was that a picture of you, Q, tackling Marcus Stiggers? Was that a picture of you tackling Stig?
Yeah.
And we know Marcus Stiggers, what did he run to you? 4.1840 at pro day?
Crazy.
When we were there? You know, and
this
guys like that, it's crazy. And so buzz, but he didn't go have some crazy pro career, you know, so the buzz was crazy, the speed, you know, the numbers, but you still got to go do it on the field and against quality opponents. So I love that we can talk about teams and preseason rankings and players and all of this, but ultimately, you know, they got to do it on the field. They got to be healthy. They got to be coached well, put in proper schemes, and then they got to perform. But I'm excited to see him. I'm excited to see him as a Buffalo. All the people on here that are in the Denver area. I mean, the buzz. Think of what it was a year ago today to now.
Oh man,
I mean, just so vastly different for CU fans and people in the state of Colorado.
No, that's a great point right there. Talk to me a little bit, Q. I mean, obviously, now maybe some of his high school hype is playing into this because he was a top player coming out of high school, but he's never played at the Pac-12 level. If you are a DB that played at SC, that played at Arizona State last year, are you feeling a certain way about this?
I mean, no, you that's the fun. You get to see when we line up on Saturday. You know, we get to see how you get to see how good everybody really is, you know. And I mean, man, big ups to Travis Hunter. You know, I mean, he's done a lot. He was balling at Jackson State, but this is another level. You know, you will see guys that are the equivalent of your talent, you know. And how do you match up against them? How do you deal with that? You know, so it's kind of like, you know, that classic thing, you know, of the you know, of the, how do they say, the immovable object versus
you
know what I'm saying?
The unstoppable force.
Well, the unstoppable force versus the immovable object, exactly. You know, so it's like that's what you're gonna see on Saturday. You know, T, we talk about this all the time. I mean, hell, I went to Kansas, but I'm pulling for Colorado. I really am. I'm pulling for Coach Prime, because I just love to see, you know, the underdog, you know, in situations. But I know these guys got a hell of a schedule too. You know, so it's like it's gonna be a fight, you know, and if you're a preseason All-American, we gonna see on Saturday.
Coach Voss says they'll be coming at him. He will have many opportunities.
I'm telling you, indeed he will.
Yes, there's a lot of people come for the CU Buffalo, which is a totally different dynamic. So that will be. We'll soon see this fall.
It'll be fun to watch
if Travis is indeed a Pac-12 performer. This next topic, you guys, is big, and obviously we always felt, even before NIL, that there were some maybe impermissible funds being passed to people, but it sounds like the Tennessee Vols had a little McDonald's frenzy, and they're putting money Q in the McDonald's bags for the recruits and passing them on. I heard another story about a mom getting some rent and mortgage taken care of. So they're doing some things out in Tennessee.
That's McRent.
All of those, that win versus Alabama was paid for last year, ladies and gentlemen. So let me go with you, Q, to start this off. They only got a ban on some recruiting bans. So they got less scholarships. I think it goes down to two scholarships less a year. And then also they got some less money as far as recruiting trips and stuff like that they can do, visits. But no bowl ban. And a lot of teams weren't happy about that. So you tell me, do you think that recruiting violations need to be hit with a stiffer penalty? Or do you think that, hey, you know, if you can get away with it with a slap on the hand, then do what you do?
I mean, That's kind of hard to say, Coach. I mean, because everybody's doing it. It is just a matter of getting caught. Because, I mean, I always talk about this. It's all going all the way back to that 83 Eric Dickerson SMU team. This is the culture of D1 football behind the scenes. And it's going to be that way. When you pull the curtain back, it's money flying everywhere. So, yeah, you talk about McDonald's, your parents get a McRent, a McCar, Mick Jordans. Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff people are getting behind closed doors, you know, because you do what you got to do, because you got to load up with as many horses as you can to be competitive. That's the business. We've been talking about this from day one on this show. That's the business. And sometimes people consider it ugly. That's the good, the bad, and the ugly. You do what you got to do to get the horses. And it's not about so much the guru condoning it. That's the nature of the business. And that's never going to change.
Hey, T.
No, that's a great point.
T, pull that picture up, not of the Tennessee Stadium, but the Brian Niedermeyer article. That right there, that's my dude. That's one of my day ones. And I am telling you right now, this dude was about it. I mean, like, I can firsthand tell you, this dude was about it. He was getting recruits and, recruits that they weren't getting before he got there. And there were reasons for it. And, but chalk it up to the game, because he wasn't the only one doing it. They weren't the only program doing it.
Of course not.
And it's like what Q said. It's not who's doing it. It's who's getting caught doing it. That's ultimately what it is.
Let me ask you this, T. They didn't get the bowl ban, and some people kind of think that they may be in the running for a national championship or at least a college football playoff run.
Yeah, for sure.
So do you think the no bowl ban, do you think that was a bigger maybe SEC move? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. This all, listen.
So if this is Missouri or Arkansas, there's a bowl ban coming?
Oh. Here's the thing. Follow the money. In all of this, this is such big money. And if they can walk away, it's kind of like, this is like politics. When you see all these Senate hearings and you're like, okay, this is going to happen. And then all of a sudden you're like, but like nothing.
How did that get passed? Right.
You know what I mean? Like, but like there was all this hoopla and then everyone's like, yeah, he's going there. They're doing this. And then really nothing. So I think for all of these programs, I think they're kind of looking at it, and it's like a shoplifter. You go in, you take stuff, you come out, and it's like, okay, you got arrested, but you didn't have to post bail. You got out, and it's like nothing. Like, okay, are you going to stop? Is anybody else going to stop? And at the end of the day, though, these programs got to win. These coaches, their job is to win. The boosters and alumni, they're willing to fork out big bucks. They want to win. The Tennessee alum, and fan base, they want to beat Bama, they want to beat Georgia, they want to beat LSU. And if we got to do this and this to do that, okay, it is what it is. Chalk it up to the game. But for everybody, Tennessee being eligible to play for a national championship or a major bowl is big money for everyone. Same Arkansas, Missouri, all same thing. I just think at the end of the day, there's oversight in this enough to say you're doing things when I don't think you're doing much. And I think the SC thing, though, from the NCAA, the Reggie Bush thing and all of that, I think they kind of learned from that too, where it's like, man, they came down too hard on that, which that's a whole nother conversation where they need to Michael Jackson moonwalk that back and get Reggie the Heisman and USC the championships. I think they know they did wrong, and the outcry from people, and so I think they had that in mind going through this situation.
The great Coach Foss says Alabama does more, and he's out. He lives in Alabama
Coach
and Georgia.
Foss, listen, they're dropping off suitcases down in Alabama. They're dropping off suitcases, Hellcats, Jordans, you name it, man. Because again, that's just the game. That's what it is, man. It's like the song goes, win, 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 win. Damn everything else, win, 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 win.
The senator of Tennessee said if they have a bowl ban, then he's suing the NCAA.
See? I'm telling you.
So they got big goals in Tennessee and Knoxville this year. They said we ain't doing no bowl ban.
Hey, let me tell you this. Let me tell you this real quick. So I run 7-on tournaments, and I did one down in LA, and the quarterback, Nico Iamaleava.
Oh, yeah.
He had just signed with them. $8.5 million NIL deal. He has a great senior year. They go back to Heupel, say, hey, we deserve another $3 million. Heupel's like, yep, agree with you. That's the kind of money we're dealing with these kids. This kid, 11.5 mil. You know, so I mean, that's bigger than NFL contracts. This is such big money now. It's just the game and industry has just totally changed. You know, so it's funny with Tennessee. We're looking back at, you know, what the previous staff was doing with some things, and it's like they're like, we're getting in trouble for things that now are legal. You know, you're out here giving kids, you know, millions now, and families and Travis. So I like it. At the end of the day, I don't want to see kids get punished for things. You know, you ban them from a bowl. You're cheating the kids on that team that weren't even there, some that didn't do anything wrong, fan base, and us as football fans. So I ultimately I like the decision that was made. I think it was right.
Yeah, you don't want any smoke in Tennessee. You ain't got Peyton showing up with Papa John. Yep. You just don't want those type of problems down there. You know,
keep the party going. Keep the party going. So we are on to our next topic, you guys, and this is one obviously that all of the locker room audience loves, and this is the Locker Room Show Lightning Round, you guys. So if you are joining us for the very first time, the Lightning Round is where it goes down. This is where our guest, our version of word association. He has 60 seconds, and tonight it's the great Taylor Barton to show us what's on his mind. We got some questions for him. We got some verses, some either or. We want to find out what's on the great Taylor Barton's mind. There's probably some people that know him, whether from Colorado, Washington, Oregon, that want to know what's on his mind too. So we got 60 seconds, and this is unfiltered in live. And we're going to find out what Big TB is thinking. You ready, big dog?
Before we start, can I just say how big time you guys got sound effects on this thing now? You got like, man.
We got to keep up with the millennials.
Man, I keep up with the millennials. Can I just get a selfie with you guys, get an autograph? I feel like a fanboy.
We'll try, brother. So we're going to get you on the clock real quick, man, just to let you know, because I know you're competitive as heck, and you ran 2-minute drills in your life before. The stopwatch is at 0, and we don't just do this for fun. There's a little wager on it. So the number you're looking for is 15. If you can get to 15 or higher, then the next time I see you, a little dinner on me, okay? Next time I see you. So 15, and now we give one protect delay. So even 14 keeps you in the running. 14 keeps you in the running, and we'll be announcing our winners here shortly as the season kicks off. So once again, we got TB at 0, so you guys see, and we are about to get the lightning round going. So the first thing that comes to your mind, all right? And word of thumb, don't try to elaborate. If it's somebody that strikes a chord with you, just get one word on out and keep it moving, baby. Yep. Keep it moving.
No hurry. All right. Out the gun. No hurry.
All right. We're at 0. First one in the lightning round. First thing that comes to Taylor's mind. Number 1, Aaron Rodgers. Go.
Revolutionize the position.
George Rush.
Greatest JC coach of all time.
Best defensive player you've ever played against.
Oh, Troy Polamalu.
Salsa or guacamole?
Salsa.
Josh Allen or Joe Burrow?
Joe Burrow.
Casino or Scarface?
Casino.
Kyle Shanahan.
Brilliant.
Debo Samuels or Jamar Chase?
Debo, versatility.
Favorite pizza topping?
Pepperoni pineapple.
Lamborghini or Rolls Royce? 50 seconds.
Rolls. Fancy, baby.
Brandon Huffman.
One of the best humans I know in this planet. Incredible recruiting guru.
Way to end it, brother. You right there in a minute. Good job. So, okay, you were cooking right there. Let's add them up. Let's add them up, and then we'll revisit.
I feel like we might have hit my jersey number 12. If we did, that'd be symbolic.
You might have a little intuition there, because that kind of looks like a 12, or which would be 13 with the tech delay. But let's add them up. Okay. So first one we got Aaron Rodgers for the 1. We got George for the 2. We got best defensive player for the 3. We got the Salsa for the 4. We got the Joe Burrow for the 5. Casino for the 6. We've got Kyle Shanahan for the 7. Debo Samuel for the 8. Favorite pizza topping for the 9. Rolls Royce for the 10. Brandon Huffman for the 11. And then you were right with the tech delay. We landed on your number. So 12. Wow. He did a good 12 right there. Wow. Just like he said. But let's revisit a couple. There's the quarterback mind for you people out there. So just like let's revisit a couple of Aaron Rodgers revolutionized the game, and he did. And like a lot of you guys don't know, but his family, very influential. The Barton family with Aaron Rodgers and helping him get seen and training him. And I know your dad had a lot of hands on him.
Let me tell you this. Watch every quarterback's throwing for him now, and they all their follow through where they don't bring their back leg through and it's thrown across your body. It all is from Aaron Rodgers. Every quarterback now, every level, that's how it's being taught. That's what they're doing. Started with Aaron.
Wow. Okay. Got you right there. And like I said, these are just a few of the people that have come out of the Barton family quarterback training, so top-notch stuff right there. As far as our other topics here, we got the Salsa. He's going with the Joe Burrow over the Josh Allen. He's going with the Casino over the Scarface. Surprised to hear the quarterback say he's going Debo, but then he elaborated and said the versatility. Favorite topping, gave us 2. He said the pepperoni and pineapple. Couldn't leave out the pineapple. Then he's going with the luxury, y'all. Rolls Royce. I'm in the same boat. I'm going to be in the passenger seat with you, brother, over there. And then, of course, the great Brandon Huffman. Hopefully, if you're watching this, of course, Avery Strong. And we love everything that Brandon does 24/7, all the other stuff. So good job there, man. Let's do one off the clock. One off the clock that I wanted to know. Are you going John Elway or Dan Marino?
I go Elway. Elway, same kind of thing. Like, he was way more athletic than people gave him credit for. You go back and watch those final 2 Super Bowls, the helicopter, touchdown run at the end. I think Dan Marino, rocket arm leader, super competitive, but I mean, he was a pocket passer.
In that pocket,
he was limited. John could be in the pocket and be a passer just like that, but he could get out on the edge and go make plays with his feet. I mean, he was kind of a dual threat quarterback before, dual threat quarterbacks. He was kind of he was like the initial, like, what do they call it? Beta phase or alpha, whatever it was. I mean, we have a totally different dual threat quarterback now. But I think he kind of paved the way where people saw, and that was Shanahan came up through that. Man, when we can go boots and get him out on the edge, the run pass option and go. So I would take Elway that way for that reason.
It was kind of like Mahomes to win the Super Bowl, where he just had to get that first down and run it.
Right.
I could see Elway doing that same.
Determination.
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Especially when he was young, when they wore the orange crush jerseys. Like,
I can see that. So that's a good call. Man.
For sure.
That's a good call. We're on to our last segment, which is the Q&A. And Q, if you have something, keep me posted. But I have one for you, Taylor. There's a lot of quarterbacks, obviously, that are trying to make that college decision because the high school quarterbacks are being so discounted. A lot of them are making that decision earlier. They're committing earlier, especially if it's a big school. So give me maybe 3 things in today's game, man. I know that you got recruited big time coming out in your day, but if you were the same level quarterback, Gatorade Player of the Year in Oregon coming out today, and you got SEC schools, Big 12 schools, Pac-12 schools trying to get your services as a quarterback, what are 3 things, knowing what you know today, that you would focus on to make your decision as a quarterback?
Well, I'll tell you, I work with these guys now. You know, Bryce Young got his first offer at our Avery Strong showcase down in SoCal.
wow.
The year we did our Golden Gate one.
Wow.
You know, and working with, you do 4 and 5 star guys who are signing with these, you know, elite schools. And we have these conversations, you know, and the biggest thing is the relationship, not with the head coach, with the coordinator. The O coordinator is your head coach.
Yeah.
That's the guy you're dealing with every single day.
Facts.
The head coach, he's that CEO that, you know, you have a face to the name, and he's the face of the program, but it's the coordinator. And a lot of times the coordinator is the QB coach, but the coordinator having that relationship is so crucial. And then I think the system, you know, not so much who's on the roster, because there's so much turnover now. You know, it's very different. Before it was like, okay, there's 4 guys on the roster and there's, you know, a junior, a senior, a redshirt sophomore. Now, I mean, guys are coming and going. So it's really, does that system fit you with what you want to do, your skill sets, and what you think fits you best and helps get you to that next level? Because those top guys, they're not just looking at college, they're looking at the NFL. Who's going to get me ready for that next level? Development. So it's that relationship with the coordinator. It's that. And then the last thing is, I think you have to, as a quarterback, look at one of 2 things. You either have to say, do I want to go to a place where they're consistently at the top winning, and I want to go in and just help keep, you know, that churning, or do I want to go somewhere where I can get them, turn it around and get them to that place where eventually down the road, guys are coming to just keep it churning. And those are kind of 2 different mindsets. And most people think it's, well, you know, Bama, Georgia, and just go there. But it's like, but if you're going to be the number 1 pick in the NFL draft, you're not going to a Super Bowl winning team. You're going to the worst team in the NFL. So in some ways, it kind of, I think it can help you down the road with NFL scouts to say, hey, I went to a deck that wasn't as stacked and went and was competitive. And I mean, so I think those kind of things that quarterbacks look at, I think there's more layers to it than how many seats, you know, a stadium holds, you know, or, you know, did they win a national championship 2 years ago or not? Or, you know, what the parties are like at a school, or, you know, obviously NIL money, you know, is important, but if you're a baller and you're going to go to the next level, you're going to make a lot of money down the road with endorsements and contracts anyway. But you're not going to get any of that if you're not on the field playing, and if you're not productive while you're on the field playing. So I think you have to look at, man, I want to get to the penthouse on the 60th floor, but the penthouse on the 60th floor doesn't exist without floors 1 through 59. So I got to go get those first steps, get them going, and you know, the destination goal is the penthouse, and you do it right, and you make the right decisions for the right reasons, you get to that penthouse.
Yeah,
I love that analogy.
That's a great point. That's a great point. I want to piggyback off of that, Coach, if you don't mind. The first guy that comes to mind, you know, I'm a little biased, you know, is Kansas's quarterback, Jalen Daniels.
Yes.
I mean, he's, just as you said, struggling program, you know, doing great when Coach Mangino is there, you know, fall off. And he's, I mean, along with the coordinator, their awesome old coordinator, you even saying that, especially if you see that Arkansas game in our bowl game, great offensive coordinator, and he just totally, you know, from the quarterback position is, you know, took nothing.
They worked together.
But look at what happened. He became a national name, and Brandon was on game day, and they're talking about him on all these other things, and they're not talking about
if he didn't get hurt.
The number 4 school in the country, you know, at Texas A&M. How much did you hear about Texas A&M quarterback compared to him at Kansas? So that's the opportunity when you go there and you do those kind of things. That's a perfect example. At a perfect school. Yeah, a TCU, you know, that like those kind of situations to me are what I'm talking about, is those opportunities where when I chose Colorado and when you chose, Colorado was emerging. We had top recruiting classes, but you know, the couple years before they had been 5 and 6 and whatever.
Well, we needed a quarterback.
Like, man, the recruiting classes coming in, the talent where we're at, this can be a 10-2 team, 11-1. We can go play for national championships and be the guys that got it there. That was the reason I chose Colorado out of high school compared to Arizona State I had taken a visit to, and they were the number 2 team in the country playing in the Rose Bowl, you know, and that was the deciding factor for me. And with a lot of the quarterbacks that I work with, those are deciding factors for them too. Of course, the Bamas and Georgias are great, but I think a lot of the kids' mindset is, again, because Bryce Young, where is he going? the Panthers, right? They were not a great team last year. The
Right.
top quarterback, Joe Burrow, went to Cincinnati Bengals. Why did they have the #1 pick? Because they weren't good the year before. So if you're going to go be a first-round draft pick as a quarterback, you're going to go to a franchise that was not winning. So I think in college, if you find the right dynamic, you don't want to go where you're just going to get crushed and not have an opportunity to have open receivers and you're just going to get sacked and hurt. But I think if you can find that kind of Kansas type situation with up and coming coaches, or TCU, Sonny Dykes, and the right system and right program, I think it helps, vault you and prepare you for that next level, which is so different in quarterbacks now. You mentioned quarterbacks now. When I was coming out, you got recruited off your senior year. Now quarterbacks are already committed and signed before their senior year. You're recruited off your sophomore year, maybe even freshman year, junior year at the latest. And now you're going into college where it's like basketball, almost one and done. You're going in like, okay, I'm going to start, play a couple years and go. So that the way you're looking at it is just so vastly different now. And so because of that, the ingredients change, and what you want in that stew that's trying to get you ultimately to your penthouse goal, which is to be a first-round draft pick.
That's a great point. Yeah, and my alma mater, Reardon, they're freshmen. They've got a freshman that's never started in that conference. They've never had a freshman starting in WCL, and he's getting offers, and definitely got to connect you to. So, this is some amazing stuff you guys. And this is why I wanted to bring Taylor in, because we're going to bring in guests that you guys have heard of, and maybe you've seen them play and everything. And then we're going to bring in guests that make the industry, that know everybody, that are the movers and shakers, and that know those little finite things that you guys need to pay attention to if you want to win in this industry. So that's great feedback. Q, did you have something you want to say?
Oh, for sure. Now, here's the question of all questions, Taylor. Obviously, you are a bad man in that pocket, highly recruited. But the question of all questions that keeps resurfacing, behind closed doors with me and T and on the air as well, is, as talented as you were, how did you know? And I mean, T, you said this 100 times. We've had a ton of your college teammates on. Everyone loved Coach Neuheisel, but how did you have the heart, and how did you know to leave? That's my question. Because you were a bad man. You could have stayed and stuck it through, but how did you know? Like, I could go that route, but I'm gonna go this way because. That's what I want to know, because that's where a lot of these kids, they're talented, and sometimes they stay and get lost. They get lost, and it doesn't work out, and they don't get any tick. How did you know, man?
Well, and it can go the other way too. Sometimes kids leave and they shouldn't have.
That's true too. And that's true too.
I think ultimately, I think all of this, fellas, and the reason you guys have been successful, I've been successful, is you have to be able to look in the mirror and block out all the noise and say, what is best for me? Who am I? No one knows me better than me. No one knows you better than you. So I want to listen to what people have to say, take advice, be a sponge, soak things up. But ultimately, I got to walk in my shoes, and I got to make the decision that's best for me. And when I made my decision, it was hard because we didn't have the portal. So I had to go to a junior college. I had to go from a scholarship D1 athlete where you're walking in, getting your cleats, they're doing your laundry, training table, to go pay to go to a junior college to go to practice on a grass field where, they didn't do your laundry. We were living ratchet. I ate cereal and top ramen every meal. We were 5 people in a 2-bedroom apartment. To save money, I slept in the living room on a bed up on the corner just to save a few extra bucks, and did what I had to do. But it was belief in myself that, look, ultimately, this is what I want. This is where I want to get to. And, I think like any good business, you have to have the destination where you want to get to, but you have to realize sometimes you got to pivot and adapt and change the path, but it doesn't mean the destination has to change. I just might got to get rerouted, detoured around over here, go this way. And that's, what I did in my junior college year actually was one of the most enjoyable years I had in college, and I made friends down there. Got a belief back in myself. Colorado was awesome. I tell people, favorite place I've ever lived is Boulder. I love the colors of the school. I loved Boulder, the state of Colorado, Denver. You had all the pro teams. We were in the Big 12. It's Pac-12 now. I've said Colorado is a sleeping giant. I think Dion, what he's going to do there with recruiting, the fan base is going to be incredible. I'm super excited for what's going to happen there. And so it was hard for me to leave because my heart was there, made friends with so many people out there. But ultimately, it's just like what we started this with guys making a decision and, do they loyalty or money or, what do you do? Ultimately, you got to do what's best for you. You got to live with it. And you got to think. It's like playing chess. You got to think each move through, but not just, okay, I'm going to make this move. But when I make this move, what are the counter moves? What are the results of these moves? And I think people just get focused on the next move. And it's like, man, you got to play
chess. Did you
chess.
ask your dad? How much did your dad play into the decision?
Yeah, that was my next question.
Because, obviously he was a pro player, so he had some insight. Was he saying, son, you make the call? Or was he like, hey, you need to follow that code?
It's tough. In his eyes, he's going, man, you're giving up a scholarship, a guaranteed. Like if I stayed at Colorado and never played, they couldn't take my scholarship away. I'm still on scholarship, getting my degree, of course, and so to give it up, and they didn't have money to pay for me to go to junior college. So I had to go work. Coach Russ, you mentioned him. I had to go down there and I was mopping up, I was janitoring bathrooms in the hallways, taking apart, everything, doing what I had to do. But I had a passion for it. I loved it. And that's what I tell my kids this right now. My daughter's 10, my son is 6, and my daughter's in dance. And I said, look, whatever you guys want to do, I'm not going to push you into anything. But you got to understand, if you're going to go into dance, you're going against killers like me who in every industry live it. So if you want to succeed in it, you got to live it, or else do it for fun and don't have those long-term objectives. Because for me, whatever I had to do. So if I had to give up a scholarship, go to a junior college, mop floors in the morning before school, after practice, come home, be tired, it was to get me back to where I needed to be to get to where I wanted to go. And I lived it. And that's the same as you guys. Like it just, you lived it. And so in any industry, football, basketball, so these kids in recruiting and these parents, if you want it more than your kid, stop now, save yourself money. If this kid isn't pulling you, then it ain't gonna happen because you're going in an ocean with sharks. In any industry, I play poker, and if you're not sitting there studying and learning, you're a fish losing your money because these other guys they're studying, they're learning, they're getting better. So I think that's what it was for me, was the belief in myself. I got to do what I got to do, and if I got to give this up to go do this, it's what I'm gonna do. And it doesn't always work out for everyone, but for me, I dealt with some injuries, but ultimately now I live in Seattle. The fan base that I met through work now, my work is thriving through alumni that I met, players I played with. So even if you don't end up in that destination you're planning for, think if you're a good person and you work hard and you go about things the right way, man, God is going to lead you in a path
work out.
that it's going to work out. I think hesitation is a killer. Like if you're sitting back hesitating, somebody else, man, they're going to take it. You go to the club and you see that beautiful girl and you hesitate, bro, it's over. It's a wrap. Like 5 other guys on her. It just is, man. So you gotta believe in yourself, spit your game, go, but it can't be words. You gotta live it. Nowadays kids are tweeting out, I want it so bad, I'm being slept on. And I'm like, but bro, I was out at the 7-on and you weren't there. And I talked to your coach and you weren't in the weight room. And when I talked to you on film and asking you about practice and, so you got to live it. So for these kids and families, understand you're competing against kids now. Recruiting is a countrywide thing. So you want to get recruited, you're in the Bay, you want to get recruited at Cal Berkeley. Marshall Charrington is their director of player personnel, a good friend of mine. We did a tournament down in the Bay Area. We had a program from Dallas, Texas, and Anchorage, Alaska come to our tournament in the Bay, and they ended up offering a kid from the Dallas team, and he committed to him. And I was texting Marshall, and he's like, we would have never got that kid without your tournament. But they're recruiting in Dallas and Florida. So you're not just competing against kids down the road at a junior high or high school. You're competing against kids in Miami, Florida, and Dallas, Fort Worth, and LA, and the Bay. So if you're not living,
and the portal,
the portal changed it too, because now, Courtney Morgan, the director of player personnel at Washington, told me, he's like, listen, with the portal, I can just go pick all these kids, and now it's even better than junior college. Junior college kids were appealing because it's like, hey, it's a step up from high school, they're more mature. portal kids, it's like, hey, they've been playing D1 now, or D2 or D3. They've been playing college.
Yeah.
Get them right in. So it doesn't mean you can't make it. You can always make it. And you don't always have to be the most talented. It's not just the most talented who wins.
Yeah,
if it was that, USC would never lose a game in the Pac-12 if you just compared rosters.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is to the people listening, the parents, the kids, you just got to understand this picture right there. Those two quarterbacks, Dondre Fair and Jake Scocco, two of my quarterbacks. Portland State and Jake in the background just signed with Eastern Washington. Full scholarship, both of them right there. And those kids lived it. Man, I'm getting texts from them, coach. When can we get film? When's the next workout? I'm seeing them everywhere. You got to live it. And I think it's the same for any industry. You want to be a great lawyer, you can't part-time it. You want to be a great anything. And so I'm not trying to preach. I'm just trying to explain to everybody in this industry, like we know, man, you go in that locker room, everyone's talented. Everybody is talented.
Yeah.
Talent only takes you so far. Receiver Stiggers ran a 4.18 40, but if you can't get off a press, if you can't, convert a 10-yard out to a hole shot against a cover 2 zone because you don't know coverage is, it doesn't matter how fast.
It doesn't matter. That's facts. That's facts. And it's funny, T, because his story sounds so similar to Kurt Warner. Because I used to talk to Kurt a lot, because Kurt and Daryl Strawberry used to go to my church back in St. Louis at Church on the Rock. But it sounds exactly, and that's exactly what made Kurt what the hell he was. Because he was hungry. He was hungry.
He was bagging groceries. He was bagging groceries.
Dude, hungry. So that's
plenty of opportunity.
I'm so glad you said that, because it's so many parents that they wanted more than the kid.
Dude, there's some kids right now, man. And once again, Taylor was Gatorade Player of the Year,
right,
in the state of Oregon. There's some kids right now, man, you guys, that if they don't go D1, they ready to hang it up.
And that's the thing to me. I remember someone talking to me, and I'm like, look, I want an opportunity, and I'm gonna go earn it. And if someone doesn't believe in me, I mean, I was at Colorado and I was competing for the starting job, and then I'm fifth string, and then I'm like, look, it doesn't matter. I love this. And I'm gonna look at film, and I'm gonna get better. And then I go to a junior college, then I go to UW, and a year and a half after leaving Colorado, where at one point I was the fourth or fifth string QB, I'm the starting QB at Washington against UCLA in the Rose Bowl, 2 top 10 teams in the country, and I'm the ABC player of the game, setting a school record.
See.
Yeah,
because he was hungry.
You gotta fight.
Hungry.
So hey, you guys, that is why we wanted to have Taylor on. We've been wanting to have him on for a while. We wanted to close those locker room doors, because I knew he would lay it out plain for you. He's not going to sugarcoat nothing. He works with athletes across the country, and he only wants the serious ones. So Taylor, before we let you go, man, tell the good people where they can find you. What's the best way to reach you?
Yeah. Actually, we run a top 5 7-on-7 tournament circuit in the country now. We're all up and down the West Coast, so you can find our 7-on-7 association. Get on there on social media at Taylor Barton 12. You can find me doing QB trainings. We do 7-on, 5-on. We did a big college showcase, and I want to be a resource for any kid and family. So if there's anyone that ever needs any help, has questions, anything, I run my own business. I do well for myself financially. I truly want to give back, help kids and families. And I know you guys are the same way. So anybody out there, know anything, anytime, ever that I can do or we can do, consider it done, especially for the before you go pro film.
There you go, man.
And hit this man up, because as you can see, I'm intrigued by the story, man. Like, the man has ran the gauntlet.
Well, we didn't even get the whole story. I mean, when he went to JC, he went to San Francisco City College, right across the street from my high school, Q, and they were
national champions.
They were the Ohio State, Alabama of junior college, still are to a certain extent. Yeah. But when he was there, they were to Alabama, a junior college.
Taylor, were you out there? I mean, you Sanford. Isn't that where Steve and Chad went?
Yeah, we won 3 national championships in a row. So Nick Rolovich was the quarterback before me. Then I came in, was quarterback, and we had Jabril Wilson, our safety, went to Tennessee, started for the Giants in the Super Bowl. We had our backups, our third string DBs, receivers were signing with SC and Clemson
yeah,
and
they
what
was
I
Power
mean.
fives.
Yeah, because I was about to say that's what Steve Smith and Chad Johnson went there too.
The,
No, they went
so
to
no,
El Camino.
Yeah.
Oh, they
Was
went
it
to El
Camino?
Camino.
yeah,
Was it?
they were different, but I mean we had dudes.
I know y'all
We
were
had two
loaded.
linebackers, Pasha Jackson and Lance Mitchell, went to Oklahoma. Both of them started at
Yeah,
Oklahoma. I mean,
yeah.
it was just
That's
craziness out there. Our
insane.
practices were
Lenny
harder
Walls.
than my UW practices as far as personnel
That's
of who we
insane.
were going against them. But it was
insane.
again, it was kids. We had kids from the South. We had kids from Hawaii.
Wasn't
we had
Lenny
kids from
Walls
all
on
over.
your team?
Who?
Lenny Walls? Lenny
Yeah.
Walls?
Yeah.
See,
Yeah, he was
HB?
see,
yeah, I mean, he was phenomenal. He Boston College, right? And because he was initially at
Broncos.
St. Mary's, he was at a D3 school, comes to junior college, and then goes to Boston College, and then goes to the NFL.
see,
So that's where for people like D2, D3, and AI, like if you love the game, it's not about the level you go to. Of course, you want to aspire to go to high levels, but man, look how many guys in the NFL are from D2, FCS, D3 schools. If you truly want an opportunity, I hear people like, I just need an opportunity, and then they get offered to a D2, D3, and AI school, and they're not hitting the coach's back, and it's like, see, no, you're in love with what comes with being recruited. You want that. You're not in love with the game, and that's it's really two different things, you know. And those who know, those who don't. But parents, you can't buy your way into it. It doesn't. You can't pay a trainer. It doesn't matter how much you pay him. You know, your kid has to be leading the way. If I can leave anything from this segment, it's you can't push. You got to have your kid pulling and then support it. But if you're the one that's pulling and pushing and doing all of that, then you're wasting time and money, and you'd be better off investing that money into, you know, stocks, 401ks, college fund, whatever it is. Just straight up.
That's facts.
Straight up.
No, we appreciate that.
Yeah,
and that's
man.
why you guys come in the locker room to get it true. Straight to you.
Raw.
You know, take your medicine, and you know we love you. That's why we're keeping it real. So Taylor, amazing content as always. Once again, you guys, this is somebody deep in the industry. A lot of people know this person. So you saw the at Taylor Barton 12. Hit him up on Twitter. Make sure you connect, because he said he wants to be a resource. So whether you're looking at this live or you're looking at this recorded, you got a football industry resource that's right here for you. So TB, I love you, man, and thank you for holding us down tonight.
Yeah.
Man, this always fun for me to get on with you, TQ. Very nice meeting you, man. Respect what you got. I saw that picture of you tackling Stick. I'm like, man, that dude was hard to catch. So the fact that you were tackling him tells me everything I need to know about your athletic ability.
There you go. All right, baby. Well, hey, keep kicking butt. I'll talk to you.
All right, Twitter.
All right.
Yep.
You guys, hey, once again, we're bringing in bangers. We're bringing in people that love football and they love to give back. Does it get better than that, Q? Somebody that wants to give you the sauce?
I'm telling you. And we ever getting this dumping free sauce. It's sauce for everybody. Remember Oprah? Sauce for you. Sauce for you.
I mean, man, these are things that I wish I would have thought of, known, you know, that insight when we were coming out. It's a totally different era. There's a lot of layers to this.
It is.
It is. I think sometimes the kids that we work with before you go pro Q, they play from such a young age that I think this is still just good old, you know, playground football once they get to the college level. And it's business, man. In high school, it's business. So, you know, you guys got to make it a lifestyle. Like he was saying, he's not saying that because he's trying to make it harder for you. He's trying to be truthful with you. So that was a good one right there, man.
Oh, it was, man. I'm telling you, man. You words to live by. In this industry, you got to live. Especially if you're a player, you got to live it. You gotta live it, man, because it's some hungry kids out there. I'm telling you, in the scholarship,
and then took a step back. I didn't know he was mopping floors. At the JC.
Hey, whatever it takes. That's a meme. If you see Taylor, whatever it takes was a person. He just got off the show just now. I'm telling you, but parents need to understand. Players need to understand. If you're not going to wake up and you're not going to run hills and you're not going to make your grades, you're not going to listen to your parents and get in by all the little things, everything you need to do. Well, somebody's going to
Yeah.
take your scholarship. And guess what else? Somebody else, especially D1, somebody else gets to play on TV in front of your parents instead of you. So there's no waving the mom on Fox.
Yeah,
Ain't
dad
no
watching the
waving
game.
right.
He
Ain't
still
no
gonna watch
waving
the
the
game.
dad on ABC or NBC because some other kid took
Ain't
your
no
shot.
NIL deal.
That's what happened. Somebody took your shot, and you get to sit down next to your parents and watch some other kid. That's what's gonna happen if you're not careful. So I'd advise you to work. That's all the guru got for the night. It was
There
hot.
you go.
This was hot, T. This
I
was
love
hot,
it. I
man.
love it.
Tell me.
And we got the Munoz family coming in. Big Marco, he said, we coming. I know Ernest, his dad, Lisa, mom. Yeah, I see him training. I seen him training. So we ain't even talking to Marco.
It's too hot outside. It's too hot.
Yeah. So I think he's doing some gym work, but we love it. We love it, you guys. Another great show. I see Coach Falls saying another great show. We love you, Coach Falls. And thank you guys for joining us, whether live or recorded. You know, the locker room shows got your back. And we only a month away. I was talking to a college coach today. He said, we go to camp next week. You know, so it's about to get going, you guys. And we hope you're ready. You know, the locker room show's going to be ready, and we already got a great guest for you lined up for next week. So, Q, before we get out, anything for the good people?
I'd advise you to put your mouthpiece in because it's time to strap it up.
Strap it up. All right. We love y'all. Have a good weekend.